Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. Do you ever get in that place where you just can't win? And even more so, you had no idea you were competing to begin with? Like, that's exactly where I am right now. No matter what I say, it's offensive. No matter what I say, it's just wrong. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I can't win. And yet somehow I was not even playing the game. All right. Anyway, the icon for this was that funny little lizard in the pool saying, "Save me." And apparently lizards in pools are a pretty common thing. And I am going to actually attach how to resuscitate a lizard because it was done brilliantly. And who knows, you might find yourself in that position. This is actually about knowing how to ask for help and feeling okay about asking for help. So what happened was I was filling up the water barrels of my horses, and at the end there was still water in the hose, of course, when I turned it off. So I decided to just randomly spray the extra water into the pig's little pool. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement and realized that this little lizard, who was just probably sunning himself or enjoying the essentially empty pool, was suddenly doused with all this water in a very powerful sprayer. And that little person just ran up the side of the wall and was holding on for life. Because what could he do? I mean, the angle wasn't going to let him out. He didn't want to go back in the water. He was holding on with his tiny little feet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I did not see you there, and please allow me to help you. And so I went over. He wasn't panicking at all, more than being doused by the water and praying not to fall back in. But he actually let me put my finger under his tail and lift his little body up over the wall of the pool. And then he fell on the ground right there, and he just stood there looking like, what are the next steps, right? He's just in shock. And I thought, when do we have the courage to ask for help? I mean, that little person needed help. And it's interesting because as a teacher, and I'm teaching like 11, almost 12-year-olds, they already have a sense that they're supposed to know everything, right? Like somehow we get this message very early on. We go from why, as little kids, right? Incessantly asking why, to kind of being shut down on that, right? Too many whys, because I said so, etc. And then finally get to a point where no one's comfortable. There's very few kids that I teach that will still do the why incessantly, and I welcome it. Other kids will want to shut them down before I do. But I'm so sorry that children stop asking the why, that certainly as adults we stop asking the why, and then we get to the point where it's just presumed we're already supposed to know it. And I have to remind my students all the time, you're little kids, you've barely been on the planet, and no, you're not expected to know that, okay? It's okay to ask. But I want to say that to adults too. And it's okay to ask for help, right, when we need it. Because people need help. It's a very desperate time. I literally just posted a place that had a thing saying that they're still giving out free food on Saturday. And I posted that in our school website saying, hey, get out there and get what you need. You know, we need to ask for help right now. I think that's kind of the message of the COVID right now, like on the bigger scale, is that we actually have everything we need if we dare to share, if we dare to ask for help. And I found a good little talk right here, a really good article on how to ask for help when you need it. And I'd like to go through. So it says, I'm just not sure how it began, but it is a definite belief among many people that asking for help is a sign of weakness. In my work as a leadership coach, I see it again and again in all kinds of organizations, companies, and teams. Very smart people need help, but don't ask for it, which isn't very smart, right? And the refusal ends up keeping them from being as productive and effective as they could be otherwise. If you're reluctant to let anyone know you need assistance, whether it's because of pride, fear of being judged, or just not wanting to draw attention to yourself, it's time to get over it. Here are some things to keep in mind when you're learning to ask for help. And we're literally learning, right? I want you to learn. I want you as an adult to not only know that it's a great compliment to the person that you dare to ask for help from, but that it's essential to be as successful as you want to be. We cannot know everything. So it says, number 1, demonstrate you've tried. Because there's nothing worse. I have students who will listen through the entire thing and then at the end just go, I don't get it. I need help. I don't know how. I'm like, wait, did you have any indication at all that you were going to actually retain some of the knowledge that I just gave you and try and then ask for help? Or were you just waiting the whole time to say, fix it? Okay, so you want to demonstrate that you've actually tried. When you encounter a roadblock, try to get around it by yourself before reaching out. And that just feels good anyway, right? When you incidentally solve it yourself. People are more inclined to help those who have tried to help themselves first. Explain what you've tried on your own and what went wrong before asking for advice. I like that. Number 2, seek collaboration. Things are so much better in groups. Once you've sorry, my little tripod gets in the way of the words. Once you've, oh God, how am I not seeing that? Once you're ready, thank you, to ask for help, propose it as a partnership between you and your helper. You don't want to dump everything on them, but to put your heads together to look for solutions as a team. Let them know that you're willing to do your part. I love that. Be specific. Make sure the person you're asking knows that they can be most valuable to you. Tell them exactly what kind of help you need and why, to make sure the assistance you get is what you actually need. Stay engaged. It's important to stay engaged with the person who's helping you. Okay, there's nothing more offensive. And I realized this and was actually just speaking of it recently, where somebody will ask me for help and then I give like 200% more to solving their story than them. And I feel like an idiot at the end. I'm like, why did I invest more than they were willing to? I'm over that. I am seriously over that. You know, if there's no signs that somebody is willing to help themselves, that they're actually doing the footwork and that they're equally, if not more engaged in solving their problem, I have to back down. Because I have fallen prey to that way too many times. I don't know if you can relate. So it says, learn from them, watch them, listen to them, ask questions and take notes. If you pay close attention to how your colleague is handling the problem, you should be able to tackle it on your own in the future. You'll even be able to help the next person who faces the same issue. I love that. Know that most people enjoy helping, and I believe this to be true. Most people do, seriously. If you're scared to approach someone to ask for help, remember that most people love to help others. In return, make sure you let them know that their assistance will have a meaningful impact. People like to know their actions matter. Ask privately, praise publicly. That's sweet. The best way to ask for help is to do it privately. Yeah, so true. It doesn't put the other person on the spot. It's just more fair. Pick 1 or 2 people that you think are best suited to help you and ask for what you need. Don't forget to be specific. And when you've cleared the hurdle, praise them publicly for the help that they've given you. And again, you're going to have to kind of monitor that. That person may not prefer public praise, and that's okay. Get a sense of that first. Give help to get help. When the time comes to ask for help, you'll have a big point in your favor if you have a reputation of being someone who's willing to give help. When your turn comes to ask, you'll know how good it feels to give. And when your turn comes to help, you'll know what a relief it is to the person in need. I agree. The next time you find yourself needing help, remember that how you ask is almost as important as what you ask. That people are willing to give much more often than not, and that there's no better way to reward them by letting them know in public again how important their help was. I kind of struggle with that because I do know some private people who would not prefer to be publicly celebrated even for their acts of kindness. Some of them are just humble and believe it's between them and God that they've given. Others know all too well that in you publicizing it, it may very well hurt other people that that individual had chosen not to help previously. It may also bring far too many individuals forward saying, hey, well, why won't you help me? So that's very tricky to me. But I've certainly praised people publicly, but I've had the insight to know not to. So it's a tricky fine line right there. And then finally, lead from within. Asking for help isn't easy, but it is necessary if you want to be as effective and productive as you know you can be. I absolutely agree. So let's go back to those just for a second. That's all it is, just this one page. But it literally says, number 1, demonstrate that you've tried. Number 2, seek collaboration. Number 3, be specific. Number 4, stay engaged. Number 5, know that most people enjoy helping. Number 6, ask privately but praise publicly. Number 7, give help to get help. And finally, lead from within. I appreciate those. Of course, I'll include that in the description of the video. Along with that, we are in the middle of kindness month. It's a month of kindness. I literally started it yesterday for all of us. It was day 1, share the kindness calendar with others and spread kindness. And I indicated to you yesterday on Thanksgiving that we would be doing a kindness month. So then yesterday, for today, it was contact someone you can't be with to see how they are. And I wrote a couple of people and said, hey, how's it going? I'm still thinking of you. I'd love them to know that I'm thinking of them, and then called one of my sisters specifically on the phone. So it doesn't matter when you're listening to this, whether you started on Thanksgiving with us and you're going to Christmas Day, what year, what month, it doesn't matter. These are just some random kindnesses that you can certainly implement into your day. So it was contact someone you can't be with to see how they are. And then for tomorrow, day 3, it's offer to help someone who's facing difficulties at the moment. Offer to help someone who's facing difficulties at the moment. So many people are. But if you're aware of one, why don't you just do an outreach? Again, it might be text, it might be, social media, it might be on the phone. And just say, I know you're facing a difficult time. Is there any way I can support you? Offer to help someone who is facing difficulties at the moment. All right, my friends, as always, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. Are you facing difficulties at this moment? Can I support you in some way? I hope I can, and definitely always in prayer. And until we talk again, my friends, best of all, know that it's okay to ask for help and that you are blessed.